What happens when a beloved actor sits down for what should be a friendly morning chat and finds himself under attack by a host who has already decided he is the enemy? In just 47 seconds, a single cutting remark would turn a television studio into a battlefield and expose the true character of one of Britain's most famous breakfast show presenters. Nicholas Ralph walked onto the Lorraine Kelly show set that morning with a smile on his face. He had been invited to talk about his work on the popular drama series, All Creatures Great and Small, a show that had captured the hearts of millions. The audience clapped warmly as he made his way to the sofa, waving to the fans who had come to see the taping. Everything seemed normal. Everything seemed fine. But the moment Nicholas sat down, something shifted in the air. Lorraine Kelly greeted him with a smile that did not quite reach her eyes. "Well, well, well," she said, her voice dripping with something that was not quite warmth. "Nicholas Ralph, everyone. The man who thinks he can just waltz onto our show." Nicholas laughed awkwardly, not sure if this was meant to be a joke. "Thank you for having me," he said politely. "It is great to be here." "Is it, though?" Lorraine asked, leaning back in her chair. "Is it really great to be here? Or are you just saying that because your publicist told you to?" The audience fell silent. This was not the usual banter that happened on morning television. This was something else. Something uncomfortable. Nicholas kept his composure. "No, I genuinely am happy to be here," he said. "I have always enjoyed coming on your show." Lorraine waved her hand dismissively. "So, right. So, let us talk about All Creatures Great and Small. You played James Herriot, a character that was made famous by Christopher Timothy decades ago. Tell me, does it bother you that you will always be compared to him? That you will always be seen as second best?" The other panelists on the show, sitting to the side, exchanged uncomfortable glances. There was Marcus Chen, the show's regular entertainment correspondent, and Sarah Williams, a lifestyle expert who appeared weekly. Both of them looked shocked at Lorraine's opening question. Nicholas took a breath. "I do not see it as a comparison," he said carefully. "Christopher Timothy did an incredible job with the role in the original series. I have huge respect for what he created. But our show is a different adaptation. A different take on the same wonderful books by Alf White. I am just honored to be part of it." "Honored," Lorraine repeated, her voice mocking. "You hear that, everyone? He is honored. How humble. How very, very humble." Marcus Chen shifted in his seat and tried to interject. "Lorraine, I think what Nicholas is trying to say is that—" "I know what he is trying to say, Marcus," Lorraine snapped, cutting him off. "I have been doing this job for 30 years. I do not need you to translate for me." Marcus fell silent, looking down at his notes. The tension in the studio was thick enough to cut with a knife. Lorraine turned back to Nicholas. "Let us talk about your background. You trained at the Royal Conservatoire of Scotland, is that right?" "Yes, that is right," Nicholas said. "And before that, you worked in a pharmacy." Did you not?" Lorraine asked. "I did, yes," Nicholas confirmed. "I worked as a pharmacy assistant to help pay for my training." "A pharmacy assistant," Lorraine said slowly, letting the words hang in the air. "So you went from counting pills to playing a veterinarian on television. Quite the jump, is it not? Tell me, do you ever feel like a fraud? Like you are just pretending to be an actor, when really you are still that boy behind the counter, hoping nobody notices you do not belong?" The audience gasped. Even the cameraman looked uncomfortable. This was crossing a line. Nicholas's jaw tightened, but he kept his voice steady. "I do not feel like a fraud. No. I trained hard to become an actor. I put in years of work, just like anyone else in this industry. My past does not define my present." "Does it not, though?" Lorraine pressed. "I mean, let us be honest here. You got incredibly lucky. You auditioned for one role, and you got it. You have not exactly had to struggle like real actors do, have you? You have not had to go to hundreds of auditions, facing rejection after rejection. You just walked into success." Sarah Williams, the lifestyle expert, finally spoke up. Lorraine, I think that is a bit unfair. Nicholas has clearly worked very hard to. Sarah, darling, Lorraine interrupted, her voice sickeningly sweet. Nobody asked for your opinion. This is my show, not yours. If I want to know what you think, I will ask you. Until then, please keep quiet. Sarah's face flushed red with embarrassment and anger. She looked at Nicholas with sympathy, clearly wanting to defend him, but not knowing how. Nicholas leaned forward. With all due respect, Lorraine, Jan, I do not think you know anything about my journey or how hard I have worked. Yes, I was fortunate to get the role of James Harriet, but I have been acting in theater for years before that. I have done the work. I have paid my dues. Paid your dues? Lorraine laughed, a harsh, brittle sound. You think a few small theater productions count as paying your dues? Do you have any idea how many talented actors are out there who have worked 10 times harder than you and will never get the opportunities you have been handed? You are not special, Nicholas. You are just lucky. And the sooner you realize that, the better. The audience was completely silent now. Some people looked angry on Nicholas's behalf. Others looked shocked that this was happening on live television. Marcus Chen tried again. I think we should maybe move on to talking about the new season of the show. I know the fans are really excited to see what happens with James and Helen. Marcus, I swear to God, if you interrupt me one more time, you will be off this panel permanently, Lorraine said, her voice cold and sharp. Do you understand me? Marcus nodded, his face pale. Lorraine turned back to Nicholas. Let us talk about your co-stars. Rachel Shenton, for instance. She plays Helen Alderson. Beautiful, talented, actually trained at a proper drama school. Tell me, do you ever feel intimidated working alongside her? Do you ever worry that she makes you look amateur by comparison? Nicholas's eyes flashed with anger for the first time. Rachel is a wonderful actress and a wonderful person. I do not feel intimidated by her. I feel grateful to work with her. She is a true professional and a friend. A friend, Lorraine said mockingly. How sweet. But come on, Nicholas. We all know how this industry works. She has a BAFTA. She has actual credentials. You have, what? A nice smile and good hair? Do you really think you are in the same league as her? I have never claimed to be in anyone's league, Nicholas said, his voice rising slightly. I am just an actor doing his job and trying to tell good stories. I do not know why you are being so hostile toward me. I came here today to talk about a show that brings joy to millions of people, and instead, you have spent the entire time trying to tear me down. What is the point of this? The point, Lorraine said, standing up from her chair, is that I am tired of actors like you coming on my show and pretending to be humble when really you think you are God's gift to television. I have been in this industry longer than you have been alive. I have interviewed actual legends. And you come in here with your little country vet show and expect me to fawn all over you like everyone else does. Well, I am not going to do it. Nicholas stood up as well. I never expected you to fawn over me. I expected basic respect. I expected to be treated like a human being. But clearly, that is too much to ask from you. Sarah Williams stood up too, unable to stay silent any longer. Lorraine, this is completely out of line. Nicholas has done nothing to deserve this treatment. You are being cruel for no reason. Sit down, Sarah, Lorraine commanded. No, Sarah said firmly. I will not sit down. This is wrong. You are bullying this young man on live television because... Why? Because you are having a bad day? Because you feel threatened by younger talent? This is not what this show is supposed to be about. Lorraine's face turned red with rage. How dare you speak to me that way? I made this show. I am this show. Without me, you would all be nothing. You would all be unemployed. Marcus Chen finally found his courage and stood up as well. That does not give you the right to treat people this way, Lorraine. What you are doing to Nicholas is horrible. He came here in good faith, and you have attacked him from the moment he sat down. Get out, Lorraine said, pointing at Marcus. You are fired. Pack your things and get out of my studio. You cannot fire me, Marcus said. I do not even work for you directly. I work for the production company. Then I will make sure you never work on this show again, Lorraine spat. You are done here. Nicholas looked at Marcus and Sarah, both of whom were now standing in solidarity with him. He felt a wave of gratitude toward these two people, who barely knew him, but were willing to risk their positions to defend him. This is insane, Nicholas said. I do not understand what I did to make you hate me so much. Lorraine stepped closer to him. You want to know what you did? You exist. You represent everything that is wrong with this industry now. People who do not have to work for anything. People who get handed roles because they have the right look or the right accent. People who have no depth, no talent. Just good fortune. You do not know me, Nicholas said quietly. You do not know anything about my life or what I have been through or how hard I have worked. You are making assumptions based on nothing. I know enough, Lorraine said. I know that you are not good enough for the praise you get. I know that in 5 years, nobody will remember your name. I know that you are a flash in the pan, and the sooner you disappear, the better it will be for everyone. The audience started to boo. Actual boos filled the studio. People were standing up, shouting at Lorraine to apologize, telling her she was wrong. Sarah walked over to Nicholas and put a hand on his arm. You should leave, she said gently. You do not have to stay here and take this abuse. I agree, Marcus said, joining them. This has gone way too far. Nicholas looked at Lorraine, who stood there with her arms crossed, her face twisted with anger and something else. Something that looked almost like jealousy or resentment. You know what? Nicholas said, his voice calm but firm. You are right about one thing. I should not be here. Not because I am not good enough, but because you are not professional enough. You have made this interview about your own issues instead of about the work. You have insulted me, insulted my co-stars, and insulted everyone who enjoys our show. I came here to share something positive with your viewers, and you turned it into this circus. Get out then, Lorraine said. Nobody is stopping you. I am leaving, Nicholas said, but not because you told me to. I am leaving because I have too much self-respect to stay somewhere I am not wanted or respected. He unclipped his microphone and handed it to a stunned production assistant. Sarah and Marcus both unclipped their microphones as well. What are you two doing? Lorraine demanded. We are leaving with him, Sarah said. I will not be part of this show anymore if this is how you treat guests. Same here, Marcus added. What you did today was disgusting, Lorraine. You should be ashamed of yourself. Lorraine laughed, but it sounded forced. You think I care if you leave? You are all replaceable. Every single one of you. Maybe we are, Nicholas said, but at least we have integrity. At least we know how to treat people with kindness and respect. You have a platform that reaches millions of people, and you use it to tear others down. That says everything about who you are as a person. The audience erupted in applause. People were cheering for Nicholas, cheering for Sarah and Marcus. The show's producer was running onto the set, trying to figure out what was happening, trying to salvage the situation. Lorraine stood alone on her stage, watching as Nicholas Ralph walked away with his head held high. Sarah and Marcus followed him, and even some of the crew members looked like they wanted to join the exodus. This interview is over, Nicholas said to the producer. I will not be finishing it. Please, just wait, the producer begged. Maybe we can work this out. Maybe Lorraine can apologize, and we can start fresh. Nicholas looked back at Lorraine, who stood rigid and defiant, clearly not planning to apologize for anything. There is nothing to work out, Nicholas said. She made her feelings very clear. I am not interested in giving her another chance to insult me. As he walked toward the exit, several audience members started chanting his name. Nicholas! 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 They were supporting him, showing him that they knew he was the one who had been wronged. Sarah caught up with him in the corridor backstage. "I am so sorry that happened to you," she said. "I have never seen her act that way before." "Well, actually, that is not true. I have seen her be difficult, but never that openly hostile to a guest." Marcus joined them. "You handled that with such grace," he told Nicholas. "I do not know how you stayed so calm. I would have lost my temper much sooner." Nicholas shook his head. "I almost did, but I realized that is what she wanted. She wanted me to lose control, to prove that I was everything she accused me of being. I was not going to give her that satisfaction." A production assistant ran up to them. "Please, you all need to come back. We need to finish the show. We have 20 minutes left of airtime." "Find someone else to fill it," Sarah said. "We are done." "But we cannot just end the show like this," the assistant pleaded. "You should have thought of that before your host decided to verbally attack a guest for no reason," Marcus said. Nicholas could hear chaos coming from the studio. The audience was getting louder, the producer was arguing with Lorraine, and everything was falling apart. "Do you think she will face any consequences for this?" Sarah asked. "I do not know," Nicholas said honestly. "People like her, people with power and long careers. They often get away with behavior that would get anyone else fired. But at least everyone saw what really happened. At least the truth is out there now." "Your fans are going to support you through this," Marcus assured him. "Everyone who watches All Creatures Great and Small knows what kind of person you are. They know you are genuine and kind. This will not damage your reputation. If anything, it will damage hers." Nicholas smiled sadly. "I did not want any of this. I just wanted to talk about a show I love with people who might enjoy hearing about it. I never imagined it would turn into whatever that was." "That was a woman who feels threatened," Sarah said. "That was someone who sees the world changing around her and does not like it. She took her insecurities out on you. And that is not fair." They walked together toward the exit of the building. Nicholas's publicist was already waiting, looking absolutely horrified. "What happened in there?" she asked frantically. "I was watching from the green room and I could not believe what I was seeing." "Lorraine Kelly showed her true colors," Nicholas said simply. "That is what happened." Behind them, they could hear Lorraine's voice over the studio speakers, trying to continue the show as if nothing had happened. But the damage was done. The audience knew what they had witnessed. The crew knew. And soon, the whole world would know. Nicholas Ralph had walked onto that show as a guest. He left as something else entirely. He left as someone who had stood up for himself against a bully with a microphone and a platform. He left as someone who refused to be diminished or dismissed. He left with his dignity intact, which was more than could be said for the host who had tried so hard to break him. The heavy studio doors closed behind him, shutting out the noise and chaos. In the quiet of the corridor, Nicholas took a deep breath and squared his shoulders. He had been tested in a way he never expected, and he had passed. He had remained kind in the face of cruelty. He had remained composed in the face of chaos. And he had walked away from a toxic situation with his integrity fully intact. That, in the end, was worth more than any television appearance could ever be.